can't believe I'm doing this video 3 weeks before training camp, but here we are, and here we go again. Anthony Davis' status for opening night is in question. And I can't say I'm surprised. This is the Anthony Davis that we have known for the past half decade now. He is a guy that always misses games for one reason or another. This time it was a completely avoidable reason that he could potentially miss games to start the season. But let's set the stage here. Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. A frustrated Jeffrey Cooperstein with you guys because Anthony Davis should not have been in this position in the first place. Marc Stein reported that Davis had not fully returned to the court yet after his surgery to repair that detached retina that he had. So we'll get into exactly what Stein had to say, and then we'll react to it here. Here's the exact report from Marc Stein earlier this morning. Based on everything I'm told, he is not fully back on the court yet. When practices start on September 30th, will AD even be ready to practice? We don't know that yet. So it's not just the potential of starting the season without Kyrie. Is AD going to be ready to go on opening night against San Antonio? October 22nd ain't that far away. And he is right about that. We are a month and 11 days away from October 22nd. How is this possible? I'll tell you how it's possible. And I do want to just note this here. Stein was asking questions. He was not reporting that Anthony Davis could potentially miss opening night. He was just saying we don't have anything definitive about him being ready to go, and we won't until media day happens and they're able to actually see AD and ask questions about him. So I do want to get that out of the way. But here's how this is even a thing. The Mavericks season ended in mid-April. Anthony Davis did not have this surgery until July 8th. That was when Shams Charania reported that AD had a surgery to repair his detached retina. So you're telling me we waited almost 3 months until the Mavericks played their final game of the season for Anthony Davis to get surgery on something that you had to have known was a thing? It doesn't, I'm obviously not a medical expert, but I think the doctors and experts would know when someone has a detached retina and he has to get it repaired. Why? If this surgery was done on May 1st, are we even talking about this right now? Probably not. But we are, because they waited 3 months into the offseason for AD to have this surgery, and now his status is in question for opening night. Oh, and by the way, the Mavericks are historically a slow starting team in the season, in a year where they are going to be heavily relying on Anthony Davis. It's just the same song and dance. Whenever you think about Anthony Davis, there are a few things that pop up to mind. Number one, dominant player. Number two, oft-injured player. Those are my two things. AD is a future Hall of Famer. He will be enshrined to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. His legacy and his status as an NBA great is cemented. There is no question about that, and this is not an indictment on Anthony Davis's ability to play basketball. It is an indictment on the philosophy of relying on someone like AD who misses too many damn games. He had one healthy season in the last 5. 23-24 he played in 76 games. Missed 31 games last year. 26, 42, and 46 games the 3 years before that. When are we going to stop thinking that Anthony Davis is going to be this all-NBA player? He's an all-NBA caliber player, don't get me wrong. But the guys who are all-NBA players have to stay on the court for 65-plus games. AD is simply just not going to do that. And this goes back to the philosophy of trading for a player who is often injured that you are going to be relying on heavily. And no, you obviously could not have predicted that Kyrie was going to tear his ACL on some freak sort of play that happened in, a crucial game where he just landed the wrong way and shit happens. I understand that. So you couldn't have predicted that. And obviously that made AD's importance to the Mavericks that much more. But you put way too many eggs into a fragile basket with Anthony Davis. Again, a great player when he plays. We saw it in the first 2.5 quarters against the Houston Rockets when he made his Mavericks debut. And then what happened? The oblique strain, where he missed a bunch of games before that. Then he returned and got a detached retina. So he's had 2 I would say, pretty significant injuries in his short stint with the Mavericks. But boy, that Houston Rockets game was something special, I got to tell you. He still averaged 20 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 4.5 assists with the Mavericks. So it's not like when he was on the court, his production went down. But this was 9 regular season games. And then in the play-in game against Sacramento, he was absolutely dominant. There's no question about that. He also played great against Memphis, but the Mavericks as a team weren't good enough. Look, man, this is my entire problem with this squad, is that you can't rely on your best players. Kyrie's going to be out until at minimum February. Who knows how many games Anthony Davis is going to miss? Like, even if he's ready for opening night, which would be fantastic, by the way, you know for a fact he's going to miss games. It's just how his career has gone the last 5 years. Maybe this is a non-story and he'll be ready for opening night. And that would be great. But what I do know is there will be something during the season that he is dealing with that he has to miss time with. And will the Mavericks be able to tread water during that stretch while he's out? I don't know. Will 18-year-old Cooper Flagg be able to carry the load? Will D'Angelo Russell be able to carry the load? I just simply don't know. If I had to say right now, given what Marc Stein said, I would say he misses opening night. And maybe that's the pessimist in me. But you guys let me know down in the comment section. Will AD play on opening night? Type P for play or type S for sit. We do have Anthony Davis jerseys available for you guys, though, at chatsports.com/Davis. Look, I still think this jersey is one of the jerkiest jerseys of all time. The championship blues that the Mavericks wore since the 2011 season. And having an Anthony Davis Mavs jersey is pretty sick. And you can get one for your collection today at chatsports.com/Davis. We do have multiple sizes and colors available. If you don't love the championship blue, we have the navy blue. We have the white as well. One more time, chatsports.com/Davis. That link is in the comments and description of today's show. Support the show, support AD, support the Mavs. Go get yourself an Anthony Davis jersey today. Let's transition to the other Mavs drama that's happening right now. This just frustrates me to no end. It just never stops with this team. Mark Cuban went on a panel. I don't remember what the panel was, so forgive me. But it was like a business forum panel, you know, those things where they wear those really skinny mics and they sit and all that. It was one of those things. But he gave some insight into the inner workings of the Mavericks front office earlier this week and how the sale of the Mavs went down and his control of basketball operations went down. We'll take a look at this first quote. There were some things that happened internally where the person who traded Luka, we all know who that is, Nico Harrison, didn't want me there. So they won and I lost. I just have no sympathy for Mark Cuban in this situation. You hired Nico Harrison to replace Donnie Nelson as the general manager. You were the one that brought him into the organization. You were the one that gave him close to full autonomy while you were still the owner of the team. You took a significant step back while you were still the majority owner and let Nico run day-to-day operations. This is fact. This is indebatable, undebatable, whatever word you want to use. You cannot state that you didn't allow this to happen. You hired the guy to run basketball operations on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, of course, you didn't want Luka traded, but that connects to the sale of the team as well. You put the people in place that made all of this happen, made all of this instability occur. You are not absolved from blame from this, Mark Cuban, and I hope you understand that. Look, man, I'm one of the most authentic Mavericks fans out there, in my humble opinion, of course. I try to give it to you straight, whether it's good or it's bad, and that's why you subscribe to the channel, because if the Mavericks are doing something dumb, I'm going to tell you they're doing something dumb. If the Mavs are doing something great, I'm going to tell you they're doing something great. I'm going to give it to you straight here on the channel. That's why you subscribe at youtube.com/MavsTV, because you're not going to get that anywhere else. Look, man, I just wish that he would just say, yep, you know what? I messed up and it's on me and there's nothing I can do to change it now, and I apologize to the MFFLs. That's what I wish he would say. But instead, it feels like he's sort of antagonizing people by trying to absolve himself, and I just can't stand that line of thinking. Here's what Cuban had to say on the sale of the team. I effed up. When I did the deal, the presumption was that I would still be running basketball. We tried putting it in the contract, but the NBA said the governor is the governor, and they make all final decisions. Pardon me if I'm wrong, but with the Celtics sale, didn't they get it in the contract? Now, I know that they've since, I believe, changed that, and the ownership group that is coming in now assumes full control. But I believe that there was something in the deal regarding the sale of the Boston Celtics that allowed them to retain basketball operations for the next couple of seasons. So, I didn't read the purchase agreement. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know this for a fact. But something tells me that the NBA did not stand in the way of that being in the contract. I don't know for a fact, but something just tells me that. And you know what they say about assumptions. They make a what out of you and me? Why would he assume that he would have control of basketball operations? You are working with a group in the Dumonts and Adelsons that own multi-billion-dollar companies. Sands Corp, one of the biggest hotel resort conglomerates on planet Earth. And you're assuming that they're going to work in good faith and give you basketball operations because they don't know what they're doing? No. If you buy something for multiple billions of dollars, you probably want to have control of said entity that you bought for multi-billions of dollars. The assumptions that he was just going to have control and everything would be hunky-dory is just wrong. Like, you can't assume that. And it just doesn't feel like he understands that he is partially to blame for everything that's happened. And in that quote, to be fair, he did say he effed up. But I think he's saying he effed up that he sold to the wrong people. I don't think he's saying that he effed up about the control of basketball operations, putting it in the contract, this and that. Thinking he's not to blame is just hilarious to me. I can't get on board with that line of thinking. Why does Mark Cuban think he is above the rest? I just don't get it. So I was just thinking and just trying to conjure it up. I have a pie chart of blame. Here's my pie chart of blame for everything that's going on. And you can see it right there. I give 90% to Nico. And then I give an equal 5% to Mark Cuban for relinquishing control of basketball operations to the Dumonts and Nico Harrison without having anything put in the contract. I don't blame Mark Cuban for selling the team. I want to put that out there because he has to do what he has to do. If he got multiple B's in his pocket, who am I to say no? But he absolutely is partially to blame. And then I'll give 5% to Patrick Dumont as well, just for being, for lack of a better term, ignorant to the situation. Like, he just didn't know what was going on, and he blindly trusted Nico Harrison, which obviously turned out to be a poor decision on his end. So, at the end of the day, it's still Nico, but Cuban and Dumont, you are absolutely not absolved from blame for the instability with the Dallas Mavericks. I'll ask you guys before we get on out of here, though. Who is most to blame? If you think it's Nico, type N. If you think it's Cubes, type C. Or if it's somebody else that I haven't even mentioned, put it down there in the comment section. You can put Haralabob. You can put whoever you want down there in the comments if you don't think it's Nico or Mark. That will do it for today's show, guys. And I got to be honest, this was therapeutic to me because I needed a little vent session regarding all this ridiculousness that's surrounding this basketball team. We are 29 days away from, no, not 29. God, my math is off. 19 days away from the first practice of the season. I can't wait for this team to play basketball games. There is no fan base in the NBA that needs actual basketball to return more than the Dallas Mavericks, and I don't think it's remotely close. God, I hope this team can prove everyone wrong and they can go on a run and be a team that we think they can be, but it starts with Anthony Davis's health, and it also starts with stability in the front office. Hit that subscribe button at youtube.com/MavsTV and go give me a follow on Twitter at Jeff_Coop27. We'll see you guys soon if anything happens with the Dallas Mavericks.